Hello, loves. Welcome to the Lunar Eclipse reading in Aries. I'm so excited. I've actually been studying eclipses for several years now and going further back, like before my birth, and really kind of seeing what they have brought into my life and how they've shaped the direction that I'm moving into. So I'm always really excited when we have these eclipses, because what I've noticed is that they do carry a really strong theme in our life that can be like the next until the next eclipse, which is going to be coming in March. So we have the solar eclipse in 2 weeks, but after that, the next new one comes in March. And what I've noticed is that they really do share the theme of that span between each eclipse season. So it's always really exciting to do these readings, because these ones always have a really strong flavor of things really coming to the head, really coming, really, even though we've been so much in that, because the North Node and South Node are in Aries and Libra, so we've been having that enough is enough energy anyway, so we're very much already in this seeing things that we're just like done with and refuse to keep participating in a path or a habit or a relationship or a job or a thought pattern that is really kind of keeping us smaller and keeping us from really living not only the dreams that we know we're here to do, but really just like owning the power of who we are and what is really our potential. And what I've really been noticing right now with this energy is there's a really strong feminine power to this energy. And one of the things that we are all experiencing and going through is kind of examining the whole competitiveness with women, how we more just like judge women, like if we wish we have what they have. And we don't have the same relationships we have that men have with men, and we don't have the same relationships that we have with men that we have with women. There's this different thing with women, and what's really funny is I used to want nothing to do with women. All my friends were like gay guys, and then the only women that were my friends were the most strongest and badass, kick your motherfucking ass kind of women who didn't take shit. So I always really liked those kind of women. I like really, really, really strong women, and I was too coming from that, always putting down other women, always judging other women who use their sexuality to get attention. I've always had this ability to see insecurities in women and seeing how they're playing them out by needing all this attention and doing all these things for validation of who they are. And I always looked down at that. I was always like, man, but I absolutely do not do that now, because I really understand where it's coming from. This is like us always evolving. It's really great to be really honest with ourselves where we have had errors of judgment, and how we've seen things and how we've judged people. It's really good in these days right now to be as humble as you can and as honest as you can, because the more honest you are, the more you're able to switch to another degree or a higher vibration of thought patterns. So I'm the first to admit I never respected women. I didn't have a lot of deep respect for women. I also, I grew up without a father. And my mother was, she was just really, she never felt like life was valuable if there wasn't a boyfriend there. So she was in that mentality of, if I have a man, if someone's seeing me as sexy, if somebody's loving my body, then life is valuable. So I ended up rejecting it totally, So we tend to learn from our parents and go the opposite way. So I just had it really where I was like, I do not need a man. I do not need someone to adore my body for me to feel valuable. I went on this whole other kind of direction in life, and because I saw that as more of a weakness. And now I know it's not so much more of a weakness, it's an insecurity, and it's something that is it's just these breaks that just need to be healed, and they all kind of really revolve around, were you seen as valuable? Because if you were not seen as valuable, you're going to be looking outside of yourself to have people tell you that you're beautiful, show you that you're valuable, that kind of thing. Or even like, when I actually had some phases, which is funny. I was talking about this, like the power of the boobs, and I realized the power of them. I really kind of embraced it when I was about 21. And then I was so at that point of that insecurity and not being someone who was valued. And I went into that space of just wanting people to see how sexy I am, just wanting people, that was when I was in my fashion design days too, and like every dress just went below my butt cheeks, like the boobs were always out, the legs were always showing, everything was about me showing my body, at the clubs, having to be at the highest place dancing, and really just feeding off of the sexual energy, and that made me feel good enough, and that made me feel valuable. And I was really into maintaining my body and being sexy. And then when I hit 28, I had some things that came in that really had me shut down my sexuality. And I never really loved having a sexy body, did not want any attention. And I kind of turned all that off, and then really kind of rejected it up until just recently. Like I'm just recently enjoying having boobs again. And if you've had to walk that path, you know what I mean. But like I just was so in shut down, and now I'm like, okay, taking care of my body, and I'm wanting to have a nice body, and I'm wanting to look good, and I'm wanting to feel good in my skin, and I'm okay with having my cleavage showing, where even a year or two ago I was not. I had really just shut that down and did not want anybody looking at me in that way. Look at me for the words that come out of my mouth. Look at me, for the words I write, for the messages I share. But do not, cross the boundaries into anything sexual with me. I'm like, don't even go there. I don't want to be represented in that way. And now I've kind of finally come to a happy medium where I can have both things, and I'm okay with that. So it's really kind of cool to be going full circle on that journey of like seeing it, so rejecting it, but then doing it because I notice I'm getting all this attention from it, and then getting too much attention in wrong ways, so then shutting it down again, and then traveling 14, 15 years shut down, and then finally kind of opening to it again, and now being like, oh, it's kind of cool. But I'm kind of glad I've gone through the whole full circle. A lot of us have to cover all those angles of things before we can really have a mature understanding. That's kind of what Saturn return does in our life too. So we have to walk all these paths before we really get to that completed form path of knowing all sides, and then that's when we usually come out as teachers in the world too, because we've really walked all this stuff. In the beginning of our life, it's just kind of lip service. It's just what we think. It's just what we get in our mind. But until we've walked it, it's like, oh, whole nother story. So what's really happening for the women out there right now is, really kind of like gaining the value and the faith in self without anybody else's opinion tacked on to that, and determining that. So there's a really big flavor of like, I don't need to judge myself through other women is part of it, and not really needing the attention of men, if you're hetero, to feel better about who you are. And when you do gain that kind of solid, strong, feminine, and it also comes to when you start supporting your sisters, when you're not looking out at other women and being jealous of what they have, or being envious of what they have, or being like, how dare you wear something with your cleavage all hanging out? And I mean, if you've got big boobs, it's gonna hang out one way or another, so, but like, I think that there's a lot of judgment in people's minds when they look at somebody who looks hot, or look at somebody who takes care of their body, or look at somebody who's got beautiful breasts, or whatever kind of judgments we have. We're always putting down women. We're always like, oh, who do you think you are? Oh, I can't believe you would, you know. And what I've really realized is this is one of those kind of inside job things that we have to be the one to want to change, because we can't control what anybody else is going to wear, and we can't control how anybody else is going to act out in the world. But we really do have to be more supportive, even if like you see someone who you can see, they're young and they're enjoying the energy exchange of how everybody looks at them in this kind of sexual way, which makes them like, oh my God, I'm good, I'm beautiful, I'm accepted, I'm valuable. So it's this thing that they just feed off of. But instead of like judging them and being like, don't you know that you're getting the wrong kind of attention, and don't you know, there's any number of judgmental things we can do to women, but really kind of just like, smiling at them, being a woman, smiling at them, showing them another kind of energy exchange. And also just like, our energies are so powerful right now, and just because we can't see them, we hold ourselves back from believing that there's power there. But we have the power to change somebody just by wishing something for them. So seeing someone who is more in that insecure stage of needing this outside validation, that's like our opportunity to, just wish and intend that that girl is going to see the love that she has inside of her, and that she is valuable, and she's going to see it on her own. And when you see someone who has that, they have this different kind of strength, and they have this different kind of goddess secure energy. And that is what's really trying to birth into us right now. So we're letting go a lot of the messages of what women can or cannot do is part of it, and really kind of letting go of what anybody else has told you that has put you in a box, or show, because one of the things too is I've always had friends who've had really big boobs. Like I've heard that it's a Midwestern thing too, but and then you come to California and everyone has like the smallest boobs. But when you come from a world where everyone has big boobs, you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so out of place. And but I've always been really fortunate to have friends that not only are like double D and beyond, but they're so comfortable with them. And but I almost think that's kind of why I've always gone for this different kind of female person who's really solid and secure with themselves. I like to be around people like that. And but I just was thinking about how, even like, some of my friends wearing like the most revealing shirts and not even caring a thing about it, because it's just their bodies, and I'm kind of getting more to that space, and everybody needs to get more to that space, not so much judging somebody by what they're putting out there, what they look like, what they're dressing, and just letting them be who they want to be. It's all our issues, I guess you could say, when we have a problem with what anybody else is doing, and a lot of the energy right now is trying to kind of bring in this more just peaceful way where we just accept whatever and say that person wants to look like that right now in their life, because that's one thing too. I'm always really trying to show you how we should never hold too strongly to any one opinion, because we're always changing. And I was even thinking about that the other day, about how I was never a dog person. Always had cats, always cats. And then when I lived in San Francisco, I worked right across from this Pets Unlimited, I think is what it was called. And then the park right there they had pugs in the park like once a week, or I don't know. And so I fell in love with pugs. And then I was like starting to be a dog person, and then now I have Moon Bear, who's like the coolest dog ever, and like I'm so much more about dogs. Like I'm not even hardly a cat person anymore, even though I do have a cat who is so cool. This cat is strange. He's so like all the neighborhood dogs, he's totally cool with them. He's just out there, he goes up and kisses them. Like the dogs are more like nervous, but he's so chill and cool. He like thinks he's a dog or something, but he's never been scared of dogs. He turned Moon Bear into a cool, dog with cats. But I'm like a dog person now. So I mean, think about, we just change in life. So it's best not to hold on to any perception that we have of another person, of what is right or wrong, of what is acceptable, and just kind of allow people to be who they need to be. And for us to just really gauge everything by what we do and our actions and how our actions feel in our body. Because truth be told, judging people doesn't feel good in your body. Putting people down because you don't think someone who has boobs that big should be wearing that tight of a shirt is doesn't feel good in your body. And we're having to be much more aware of what energy we're putting out there with people. And I'm talking about this in the written horoscopes, but we're all becoming so much more psychic. And that's the really big message that I'm kind of putting out to everybody right now, is we feel everything that you're thinking. And so with this energy right now, we're really being called to speak up about things that we have felt from people that we're just coming, hidden behind a smile, or we're hidden beneath the surface. Because if we're feeling it in our body, there's truth to it. So this energy being an eclipse, it's going to bring it to the head where you're not going to be able to be quiet. And this started about 6 weeks ago. So you would have noticed when we were having all of that frustration and irritability and it was really the beginnings of us needing to say things that have been on our mind, or say things where our boundaries have been crossed. And if you have done that, you should be feeling pretty good right now. And if you did not heed those warnings that started about 6 weeks or so ago, then now you're going to be feeling really crazy and so irritable, and you won't be able to sleep, and your dreams will be really kind of scary and nightmare-y, because they're trying to get the message to you that you need to speak up, you need to say this, you need to get this off your chest. And I've even noticed it in readings, hardcore, like everybody has something they need to say, but they're not saying it. This woman even said to me, or she said, God, you have such balls for like saying all this stuff. And I'm like, how can I not, though? For me, anytime something doesn't feel good, I've just noticed, and I did this for a while, even like the past couple of years, where I just kept burying things, not really speaking my truth, letting my boundaries be crossed, playing smaller, denying things, denying my intuition. And when this energy finally started to come in with the eclipse that was trying to balance all of our relationship things, I started to see how I was making myself smaller. And that's something that's going to start happening if you're denying your intuition, if you're denying what your body's telling you. You're just going to make yourself smaller. And then you're going to get so small at a point that you're going to erupt and get pissed off and have to speak it in a way that maybe isn't so honoring. And that's okay. And that's what I always want to tell people. No matter what, when you have to speak something that you've been hiding or get off your chest, it's always going to create some ripples. And they very well may not feel good for a couple of days afterwards. You very well may regret making a stink. But you'll see after you get through 3, 4, 5 days, you'll start to see that you're so grateful you did this. And it happened just how it should. And a lot of times people have to do it in really irrational ways because they're so used to stuffing their thoughts down and so used to stuffing their opinions down and not ever wanting anybody to not like them or not wanting to cause a stink or a reaction or a fight. So, no, I'm not going to speak this. No. But it's percolating in your body, and it's either going to make you sick, or it's going to make you get depressed, and it's going to make you think you're crazy, and you're not going to be able to focus on the other opportunities in life because you're so in this one moment right here of discord with somebody else, with your partner, with someone at work. All of the stuff right now is really revolving around relationships. So it's going to be one of those. It's someone you work with, it's one of your kids, it's your, partner, it's your friend, it's your coworker, co-partner, business partner. So with that, I kind of tell people, I always, I think what's so important is that we really are gentle with ourselves with how much we do mess up in life, because we all do. Life is a daily learning experience, but if you can't be honest about it, you're going to keep repeating things. So it's really important that, even if you do something that was so irrational and so done in an emotionally immature way, it's still important that you do say, at least I got it out, and really kind of go from there with then, really kind of trying to, because we learn from our mistakes. So learning that, okay, next time I have to do anything like this, I am not going to do it like that. I'm going to be more considerate of the other person, because there's a big need for you to be honorable to you and to the other. But so often when it's something that's been kept buried, no matter what, it's going to hurt all parties. No matter what, the other person doesn't want to hear about it, and the other person is going to fight you on it. I mean, in a daydream world, we can like really come to each other emotionally mature and state our case, kind of like what I said in the last video with my stepmama and my dad. And how they were divorced. I don't even remember how old I was, but like 30 years ago, and but have always remained friends, and never had bad words to say about each other. They just always remembered they loved each other more than anything at one time, and but they always had this deep love, and like, this is my best friend, this is someone I can go to, this is someone I can count on. And there was never that break that was like separate, I don't want anything to do with you. And so they did it in such a mature way, and that's kind of how we're supposed to have things with people, even if it has to be a break, which so many people are going through right now. There's a lot of romantic relationship issues coming to the head, and they started, like I said, about 6 weeks ago. Some people are going to grow closer because of them, and those are the ones who are being very honest and not too much needing to be right, really kind of listening to the other, and the people who are wanting to really make this work and wanting to not just give up on it because there's some ripples or there's some issues, but they need to have this really like both mutual wanting, even if it feels like something so devastating, but wanting to make this work and wanting to grow stronger because of it. And the honesty is something, I think if you don't have that hardcore honesty, no relationship is ever going to work. And with a 50% chance of divorce, which I'm sure it's even higher than that, especially in these days, because we so much more are believing that we can have anything in life. So we don't have those, think about people in the 50s where you married someone who lived like within 8 miles of you, and so now we're just shooting for so much more. So we want to be happy. We want to be in a compatible relationship. If it can't be compatible and it can't be made compatible, then why would we want anything that's going to make us miserable? And that's a really big strength that this eclipse is bringing, and is going to further bring through the next 6 months, is with really putting it out there and going for whatever we really want in life, and not holding back, not doing that thing where then we're 60, 70 years old wishing we would have told that person how much we loved them, and wishing we would have gone and studied that career that we always loved to do, even though everyone said you can't make money from it, and wishing you would have traveled and lived in a different town and did all these things. So we just have that in us now. If not now, then when? And I don't want to get older in life and regret that I never told that person I loved them, and that's a big one. I'm saying that one over and over because a big part of this energy too is just making you get the answer. We just want the answer now. So there's going to be a lot of people who are not allowing the unrequited love, which is, so every one of us has a story like that, right? I think I have one of those in every town I leave, because I I tend to not be able to let anybody know that I like them. I tend to not show that. Anybody who's interested in me, they're very confused as if do I feel the same way. Even though in private and with friends, the truth is always coming out, but I have this really shy thing with, really being honest about that and being vulnerable. With someone that I'm interested in. And so that energy right now is making us like, I just want to know. I'm just going to tell this person that I like them. And if they're in a relationship and if they're not interested, at least I know and I can get on with my life. So we're wanting answers now. We're not just going, oh, I wonder if da da da. We're like, I'm not just go in and find out. Because at least if I know, I know. And I don't have to keep milling over it. And I won't have to then be, 58 years old and wishing I would have gone for so and so. So that's a really big part of this energy too. So there's all these different layers of it, but basically it's all about love, and it's all about loving ourselves or loving another, and it's all about really kind of going for the best possible life that we can have, and knowing that we can start over at any time, because there's also that really big drive to start over and make something work in a different way. And I was thinking about how we as humans, what I see mostly from people is that you're either looking down into one situation that you're having in your life and being just so focused on this problem, this lack of love, this lack of career, looking at problem, or you're walking through life facing your past, where you're saying, well, it's always been like that, and that's how it's always been, and that's how it has always happened, and those are the only people who've ever wanted me, and nobody's ever loved me. And so we're walking forward, but we're walking backwards because we're facing our past, so we have our back to the future. And we're not really seeing in both of those situations, whether you're looking down at this problem, while all this beauty and wonder is going on around you, or you're looking back there, but walking in this direction. Oh, fingers. You don't see I'm pointing. And missing out on all the opportunities, and missing out on all that is the potential and what it can be. And another big part of this particular, the lunar eclipse, is that we're really having the energy and the positivity kind of infused into us in regards to really kind of, seeing our past as a strength no matter what, really kind of learning from it and being like, okay, yeah, it has been that way, and yes, that pattern has repeated itself that way over and over and over, but now I've learned that I don't really want it to go that way, and now I've learned whatever from it, because we're always learning the things from our stuff, which for most of us it's about valuing ourselves. If you're not going to value yourself, how are you going to manifest valuing situations in your life? So we're kind of like taking all of that and feeling just a little bit empowered about all this because of all the stuff we've walked and all the stuff we've experienced, but really kind of going, okay, now I know all that happened. I know all that from my past occurred, but now I'm going to create this other opportunity in my future. Now that I've seen all that and know that I don't want any more of that, I'm going to manifest a love partner that's like this, friendships that are like this, a career that's like this, and I'm going to have a life where every day I enjoy myself. Every day I'll go with the flow with whatever comes. I won't judge it as wrong or bad, even though sometimes it's not really what I wanted to have happen, but I'm going to see that maybe the whole test is in how I respond to it. Maybe that's the whole test, And just kind of, this is the kind of energy that we're just going to be starting to take on, this kind of new perspective of things in a much more positive and hopeful and strong way. Because that thing of like, I'm done with that stuff from my past needs to be replaced with a new vision. Kind of just being done with it can almost feel like you're still holding your energy back in it. When I said it, I noticed that. I'm done with that. Almost puts more energy into it. And we need the next part of the sentence. And what I'm open to are these other kind of things manifesting in my life, and these other kind of people manifesting in my life. And with that too, there's a really big narrowing down of the energy. So it's going to be happening that you're letting go of people, and that's okay. And this has been the process right now anyway. And you may end up having like 1, 2, or 3 people total that are even in your life right now that you can really trust and that you really feel good with, and that you really feel like this is healthy and I'm myself. Like, that's a true test. Are you yourself around these people? Because you need to be able to say anything, you need to be able to do anything, you need to be able to wear anything and have it feel comfortable and at home. And if it does not, there's something you need to look at there. And so there is going to be the narrowing down, where you will possibly lose some people. You may have loved them more than anything, and this is a sad thing to have happen, but you have to still trust what your body feels like around everyone. And if it doesn't feel 100%, you really need to keep that in check and really kind of figure out what needs to be done with that. Because is it okay that you make yourself smaller? Is it okay that you don't feel like who you really are around some people? No, it's not okay. And when you start honoring that, you're actually going to start creating this space for a lot more people to enter your life, because what you've done is you're more defining who you are and your boundaries of what you will and will not take into your life. And when you really do that kind of work, you just get stronger. You get much more solid with knowing you can say whatever you want to say or need to say, and you can be whoever you need to be and look like whoever you need to be, and it's okay. And when you do that, you get so much more solid and confident in yourself that then all these other kind of people of that same nature start magnetizing to you. So whether it's friendships or romantic, I'm always telling people, you don't know what is in your future yet. I don't care if you've been single. I have a friend who's like never even been with anybody. I wonder how old she is now, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Maybe she's in her young 30s. And has never even been with anybody yet. And I'm like, perfect, that's totally fine. I'm not going to judge that. But I also want to be like, don't think that's how it's always going to be. Don't necessarily keep manifesting that as your future. Because you have no idea, what new moves. You get a new job, this happens, you started a new gym, you end up working out in a class next to this person, whatever. You move to a new town. I think I just said that one. But you have no idea like what's still coming into your life. So you really don't want to cut off the possibility of finding true love at 70 years old. You don't want to cut that off. It happens, I kind of think I think the older you get, the more magical it is, actually, because we evolve so much in who we are and what we can magnetize to ourselves. So if you have no friends right now, and everybody that, all your childhood friends, you don't have anything in common with anymore, and you don't have anybody who's really there, don't focus so much on that. It's okay to look at that and say, yeah, this has never happened. But now there needs to be that new thought of, but I just know I'm going to meet some people that are like family to me, and we're going to start a new tradition of every Sunday having dinner at someone's house, and all these females, and because the female one, I see them getting closer in, as we more start loving and valuing ourselves, we're going to start more embodying that goddess and really kind of feeding the other females with that goddess energy of you're special, you're important, you're valuable, honor yourself, see that. And then we're going to start coming together more in the women groups, because like this energy especially is really very much to me where I'm seeing the feminine really, really, really start to rise like it needs to. Like, I'm someone who I honestly believe all the wisdom is supposed to be coming from the women. I've been saying that for about 15 years, and so many men are in those positions, and because men have this more Mars action Aries drive of, I can make this work, I'm going to accomplish, I'm going to do, and women more like, oh no, I'm not good enough, oh, everyone else is doing it, oh, I don't know that I really have these gifts, and whatever. But like, you're a woman, so you have these massive gifts, and I just kind of see a lot more women coming forward and kind of really monopolizing the spiritual world scene, metaphysical world scene, message sharing scene. And I look forward to that because I've only been wired to that, like I said, for like 15 years. I've been like the women. We've had only men presidents, we've had everything men. It really is time for the tables to kind of turn, and for women to really realize their power and to put themselves out there. And this step right now is really making you get a voice, and really like not saying it in a way that makes you inferior, but saying it in a way that gives you power and like comes in and like, runs the scene. Even if it needs to be bossy, it's almost like a lot of women are needing to do that because they have this thing where, they'll word things like, I don't know if I can think of something now, but just like even needing to state your opinion, maybe saying, I don't know if this is going to mean anything to you, but what I was thinking, already kind of putting themselves down instead of being like, what I was thinking? I was thinking that we need to da 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 da, and that's kind of the main focus of these energies right now, is what I see is happening to the feminine and to the women. And to like becoming more ballsy and being brave and saying it and doing it and really getting to those positions so that we can have a lot more women out there sharing these really big, powerful messages, because the tables are kind of needing to turn. And not to say that all these educated men don't have so much to share too. I mean, they've been the ones leading the world. It's just that there's a balancing act that's been needing to occur. And there's been a lot more women hidden with all this wisdom than men who also have taken all the classes, studied from all the people, PhDs, this, that, I do this, I do this, I do that, I do this, I do this, I do that, the everything. And then they're like, and I am an authority, and I'm going to talk about da da da. And it's just something that's built into us that men are going to hold on to those thoughts of, I can do this, and I'm going to be a top dog, and I'm going to be a published author, and they do it, And there's something right now where the women need to start following in that same way, and really get up there and share that intuitive wisdom, that stuff that just comes from the depths of you, that's so powerful, and that we energetically feel. Because we feel nowadays what's intellectual wisdom being shared and what's a path walked wisdom being shared. So that's what I see happening right now and for the next several months, actually. But I'm so excited about it. I think that this is really like some of the really big first stages of it, and where we're going to really kind of see, women just standing up a lot more proud, and a lot more assured of themselves. Like, I can do this. I have something to share. I'm going to do this. And I don't want to be like, I know that there's a lot of men here, so I don't want to in any way put you down. It's not like you're going to be losing your jobs, but you're going to be sharing them with a lot more women. Let's put it that way. Because I'm not saying any of those educated men need to step down. I'm just saying some of these women need to rise up. So we need more people out there. But for sure, the feminine perspective is very much needed. I think that's why almost daily I hear about somebody about to launch an e-course on feminine power, or the divine feminine. It's like daily. I say, oh, here's another person. Oh, here's another person sharing it. Oh, here's another person talking about it. But it's important because we do need to wake up to this. That's just a sign that I'm right and that I'm on to this, that yeah, we need to wake these women up. We need to wake them to their power now. And seems the universe is working to make that happen. So I think I'm going to stop there. I did not know a thing I was going to say, which I always tell you anyway, but I really didn't think it was going anywhere when I started. I was actually about to stop, but I think I'm going to go with this and hope that it does impact somebody. I'm still working on the written horoscopes, but they're going to come out with this video, so I'm going to get back into the studio. And I also did a podcast on Mercury retrograde, because I'm someone who loves the Mercury retrograde. I'm someone who's going to get so much done in the next couple weeks. And so I kind of talk about that and try to give you a new perspective of how to look at it and not to be so negative with it and not to think of it as a lot of bad things. Because even with this one too, I've had a couple things that just made me really open me to changing my perspective to something that I would usually go, I can't believe that happened. And I was instead like, well, okay. So there's a really big perspective of or a change of perspective of needing us to just shift how we interpret things, and shift how we hold on to them and don't just go, okay, whatever, I can't, that road's blocked, so I guess I'm going to go the long way. And instead be like, oh, I bet something magical is going to happen on the long way. I bet I'm going to run into something beautiful on the long way. Instead of just being like, oh my gosh, I'm so mad, the road was closed, I'm going to be late now. So really just waking us to how you see things that happen in your life. Do you roll with them, or do you just sit there and bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch about them, and then end up messing up the rest of your day and manifesting all these other bad news things? I had this thing and this cracked me up. I loved it. So I was at a stoplight and yesterday morning, and I daydreaming. I just got back from the gym, and it was just a beautiful day. I was going off to ship my packages early in the morning, and had a really great workout. It was getting so much stronger. I was so proud of myself, and the green arrow goes off, and this woman behind me, instead of just giving a nice tap to let me know, just laid on the horn and gave me a heart attack and totally put that fight or flight in me, which I have a Mercury Pluto Mars T-square, with Mars 1 degree off of my ascendant coming out of the 12th house. So that fight in me can come just like that, but it was that fight or flight, and I was so irritated because it was why did you have to be so angry and bitchy and ugly when all you had to do was go tap, okay, I got it. It was and scare everyone around the whole scene. So anyway, I get up to the post office, and I got in, and then I had dropped off the stuff, and then when I came out, she was locked out of her car, and I guess she was so pissed off because I was a half second off on the green, and there was probably all this other stuff that had already happened. She probably had to slam on her brakes somewhere and spilled coffee all over her, and who knows, but those things repeat. When you get so pissed about one of them, they repeat, and when I came out, and she was on the phone and talking about, I like my guys, da, 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 and I just wanted to laugh, because it was you manifested every piece of that, from it was just this ripple in the water kind of thing, where one thing happened and you held on to it for dear life and got so pissed off. That's why then with me, and cranking on the horn, you're so rude and disrupting all of our peaceful space that early in the morning. And then she manifests another troublesome thing. So it really made me laugh about, paying attention to when one thing doesn't work your way. But also even with the horn thing, seriously, karma is real. And that thing right there, I remember thinking you're going to have something annoying happen to you now because you did that. Because you had a choice of doing it kindly tap. Oh, sorry. You had the choice of me just giving you a peace sign, and instead I wanted to give you a finger because you did it rudely. So if you're going to put that out there, guess what? You're going to get more back. It's going to keep coming at you, and the more you hold that space of being so irritated by things, the more you're going to have more of it. So we have to kind of wake to that consciousness. One, everything that we're putting out there counts. And two, just how we interpret things. How do we look at it? Kind of thing. Okay, so yeah, so when I publish this, I'll have the horoscopes ready for you, and you can also go do the Mercury retrograde podcast. And I'm so excited. I don't think I'm really going to tell you about it, but I'm going to write about it in the written horoscopes. But my new moon journey book and class, because now it's a choice to be in the class or just have the book, is going to be launching on the eclipse. And I'm so excited. It's so beautiful. It's so amazing. And I've created this whole program that's going to help you feel more in control in life, and feel more in control with the timing of things, and feel more in control with what happens in your life. And I'm going to get you into this really comfortable space through this program I created to kind of help you be more like whatever about life. And I have a lot of tools in there to help you handle things that do provoke you or do hit you to the core where you can't let go of them. So it's like a whole system. I created a whole system. I'm so proud of myself, and it's really cool, and I'm so excited about it. But I'm gonna launch it on the 23rd of October. And just so you know, if you are following me on Instagram or Facebook, or you're in the Life Collective, or where else? I guess those are the only places. Or you're on my newsletter list on Aquarius Nation. If you're on one of those, on the 15th, I'm going to be sending out a notification, an invite into being entered into a drawing where I'm going to be giving away like 5 things that revolve around this new thing that I'm teaching you how to do. So if you're in one of those on the 15th, you can enter to win one. And then on the next readings on the 23rd, I'm going to launch the new class and book and announce the winners. So you should probably follow me on Instagram or Facebook or get on the newsletter list. Okay? All right, I'm going to stop there. You have a beautiful eclipse, and whatever comes to the head, let it. Don't be afraid of how horrible it might feel for a while, because it very well may, and change does. And letting go of things that we've gotten really comfortable with are never a comfortable thing to change. So just understand that if you do have to say something that pulls you out of your comfort zone, you're going to start feeling a lot better within 3 or 4 days. So there is a pattern to how long it takes to be like, okay, with accepting what you had to do. Okay, I'm going to go now. I got to go write for like 10 more hours. Okay, have a beautiful day.